Hello and welcome back to my Friday video, which is a part of the series of the Creators of the Future workshop. You know, a lot of you have been writing to me that how do you create order when things are getting exciting, you know, when things are getting challenging, when things are getting chaotic. Because you see, if you have set your eyes to get to the mountaintop, to break some records, to create some new records, then with the kind of work, the kind of extra work that you have put in, you have created this momentum which now has brought this tremendous inflow of workload as you had expected and as you have wanted, and now creating a resultant chaos. So how do you handle that? Let me explain to you further with the example of a salesperson. I love to give the example of sales because, you know, it's easy to quantify, it's easy to put in the numbers, and therefore it's easy to explain. So let's say you're a salesperson, all right, and your target is to go from 10,000 rupees a month to 1 lakh rupees a month, all right, and you decide to increase your work by 10 times. Now, while that is commendable and while you work 8 days a week to make things happen, suddenly there is an inflow of business, there's an inflow of calls, of inquiries, there's an inflow of proposals that you now have to handle. There is admin work, there are proposals to be sent, there are meetings to be gone for. That the work that you created at that 10x level has multiplied so big, and it has come back to you in so much abundance that you just cannot handle it, and you are getting burnt up, you're scattered all over the place, you're confused, and you are overwhelmed that, okay, I did start this initiative, but how am I going to carry it through? Is this good or is this bad? Let me tell you, this is excellent. And while you're peeping through your workload and watching this video with one eye and saying, yeah, right, tell me about it, let me tell you, this is actually excellent, because you see, the chaos that has happened in your life is a new chaos. It did not exist in your life before you actually got onto this goal. And now you must not just create order, you must create a new order, a higher order. How do you bring new order in a situation like this, where you are getting stuck, where you're getting limited by your own job profile, by your own expertise, and you're not able to capitalize on the opportunities that have come actually as a result of your own effort? So what do you do now? Now let me explain to you with the help of the growth of an embryo into a full-fledged human being. Let's take the time of an embryo at the point of 2 to 4 weeks into conception. So I'm not good with biology, so if I miss out on some terms and terminology, please pardon me, and you can put in the corrected version in the comments below. Now, the embryo is such a tiny organism that it can actually be placed at the head of a pin. That is how tiny it is, and yet it has in it, it contains in it the potential to form a full-fledged human being. That is the potential of an idea, that is the potential of your project, which can transform into a full-fledged, full-blown reality. Now imagine Tom Cruise was once a tiny embryo that could be placed on the head of a pin. Imagine you were once, many years ago, a tiny embryo that could be placed on the head of a pin. That embryo took its potential into full performance and delivered to you this body which you are using to connect with me. Now that is magic, that is a dream fulfilled, that is a goal come done. And how? So let's track the progress of this little tiny embryo that started its journey and is still in action as you stand on 1st September 2017 watching this video and connecting with me. Let's span that journey and decode it, because actually it is your journey. So if you're telling me, how will I do this, how will I handle so many things, I want to remind you that you already have. You forgot, right? For this little tiny embryo to reach toward its goals, it needs to add specific functions. It needs to make specific division of roles. It needs to delegate responsibilities, and it needs to deliver actionables within its framework. This embryo, which is the size of a pinhead, is gearing up for massive action to fulfill a magical goal. It has major movement within. It's creating specializations. It is creating functions. It is creating roles. It is creating divisions. It is gearing up not just to execute the responsibility of its immediate environment, but also a responsibility in tandem with its higher goal, you. So if you're doing the job of sales, you have two ways of operation. Either you can do your job as a salesperson, which means your responsibility is only to deliver your targets, or you can do the job of a salesperson who is aligned, tuned into the vision of a CEO, where you are not just bothered and concerned about your own targets, you're also bothered and concerned about the company's profits. If you can see your job today from the light of the position that you want to hold, your operation system is going to be very, very different. I guarantee you that. How does the embryo grow? It assigns functions. The inside of the embryo forms the fetus. It forms the front of the body. It has innate genes which will decide the correct placement of every organ of the body. You know, so your head is not in place of your knees and your knees are not in place of your head. The genes are responsible for many other things, including correct placement of the organ. Now, the outside of the embryo, its responsibility is to make your body symmetrical on the outside, while inside your body is totally asymmetrical. So while your hands are of the same length, while your eyes are placed in exact proportion to the distance between the nose and the forehead, while your nose is center aligned, the inside of your body is not like that. The pancreas are only on one side, the heart is only on one side, it's not on both the sides, etc. Now, the outer layer of the embryo is responsible for making the skin, the brain, the nerves, and so on. The middle layer of the embryo takes up the responsibility of making the blood vessels, the gut, the stomach, the lungs, the organs, the bones, and so on. What starts with an embryo actually grows into a full-fledged human being as a result of delegation, of division, of assigning specific roles. See, you were not formed, you and I were not formed just out of one function alone. The embryo just operating on one thing alone could not have created this magic. This magic of you and I, that you and I are sitting here and interacting, was created as a collective effort of a unit which began to expand from one tiny organism, adding roles, adding responsibilities, adding functions, adding specific deliverables, specific actionables that as a collective unit delivered to your mom this magic of you. I take this up as an analogy because a lot of dreams, visions and projects never take off beyond the embryo state. They find themselves in a position where they complain or they reason that they can't grow, they can't delegate, they can't give away responsibility, they can't give away power, they can't make divisions, they can't assign specific roles, they can't allow for experts to step in. Come on, how will you expand? How will you grow? And if you can't establish all of this, you're going to remain small, you're going to remain where you are. And if the embryo had that attitude, it would die. The body would expel it. The body would say, hey, excuse me, you're not interested in expansion, you're not interested in growth, I am not hosting a blob. And sometimes people take up their vision, their goals and their projects, and they get so caught up in that little periphery of responsibility that they fail to understand that without having an eye for expansion, without having the willingness for expansion, they're going to deteriorate soon. You yourself won't be able to keep up with the consequences, the results, the effects that you start creating with your actions. If you are serious, if you are on the way to fulfilling your dreams and this is your embryo and the project, you have to add to it some arms and some legs and some mind and some feet and some brains and some expertise to take it to the next level of growth. Now let's take the example of a salesperson. Let's say he's currently earning earning 10,000 rupees, and his target, his dream is to earn 1 lakh rupees. Now, while that is 10x on his income, he knows that by that proportion, he will have to increase his work effort, which is 10x, which may not be humanly possible. Now, let's say if your hands had to do all the work, which is drink the coffee, digest it, purify the blood, eliminate the toxins, even walk for you, even see for you, even hear, even smell, well, you would die in a few seconds. It is not possible for the hands to assume specific functions and roles which it is not designed for. So does that mean that your body will not digest food? Does that mean I cannot drink this coffee? Does that mean I cannot see? No, there are specific functions designed and designated for every area which work as a whole in tandem. Yes, Muffin? She gets it. And if you had to just put one organ in charge of the entire body, it would collapse. And such is the fate of people who want to achieve big dreams, but they are not willing to expand. They are not willing, or they are limited by whatever resources, to adding more arms, to adding more legs, to adding more feet, to adding more minds, to adding more resources, so that they can bridge that gap and make magic happen. So we are so close to the finish line. We are on week 18 on a countdown which started from 52 weeks. And if you have embarked on this journey and you find yourself overloaded from all directions with work, it is the time to stop, to divide, to create functions, to create specific responsibilities, to delegate, to empower, and to grow that organism, that dream, that vision into a full-fledged reality. Now, it's easy if you're an entrepreneur. See, if you're an entrepreneur and you realize, oh my God, this is not falling in my purview, I need to get more specific functions. It's easy to do that. You bring people on board. But if you're an employee, it's not impossible. See, if you have seen the vision that this is where I am and I can easily 10x it and I'm working toward it, I tell you, it's time to knock your boss's cabin and say, hey, I have a proposition for you. And by the way, if you're going to the senior management, to your bosses or to the management, to tell them that, hey, for me to deliver 10x, I need these kind of resources and support system and functions, you have to multiply that by 100. Because as much as it is going to help you 10x, you have to show the company 100x return on your idea. And actually, if you go and you chart the course forward, your 10x will cascade into 100x. And if you can show them that, they will provide you the arms, the legs, the lungs to breathe and to expand and to grow the magic that you have set your eyes upon. And if they don't, let me tell you, there can be a delay, but there cannot be a denial of your destiny. Because the person who has seen the vision, a person who has mapped the course, a person who is willing to grow beyond his own area of expertise by collaborating with people, by assigning roles, functions, responsibility, and taking the responsibility of the synergy, that man is an unstoppable force. Because there is magic in understanding, there is magic in witnessing the truth that you have the potential and the capability to start from a tiny pin idea and make it into a full-blown reality. Because you see, if you are standing here, then you are evidence of that truth, that you have done it. Biologically you have done it, naturally you have done it. Now you just have to apply the same principles and make it happen in whatever you want to see born. Your dreams, your aspirations, your projects, your future, whatever that is. And now to give you a leg up, to help you further, to ensure, to guarantee that you make it to the finish line, I have a workshop called Dream Dare Deliver, which I'm conducting in Mumbai on 23rd and 24th September. Come join in. I have charted out a whole technology, the science of achievement, that will give you the formula and the wherewithal to ensure, to put that security, that safety net around your dreams to make it come true. I also have a lot of breakthrough activities sprinkled in the workshop that will give you the the much needed courage and guts and confidence to move despite the illusion of challenges and dead ends. And if you no longer want to take the trial and error route, I have the tried and tested method for you. Come join in my workshop. It's called Dream Dare Deliver on 23rd and 24th of September, the details of which are in the comment section below. And in the meanwhile, I have 9 books to keep you busy with inspiration, with life lessons, and with the much needed push and motivation to ensure that you're on track of your dreams. And you have to know that I'm rooting for you. So until next week, see you again.